Before I tell you anything else, watch this. A chest sinks into dark water. Remember that shape? We're coming back to it. There. Same spot centuries later. A quiet plaque, a busy harbor, and absolutely no one stopping to wonder what happened here. Long before anyone called this Boston, the Massachusett people fished these waters every season, asking nothing of the land but its patience. 1630. A ship called Arbella arrives, carrying people who crossed an ocean rather than compromise on how they prayed, first building up, timber by timber. Nothing grand yet? Just people deciding quietly that they were staying for good. A century later, this small colonial port has become something else entirely. Loud, crowded, and increasingly unwilling to stay quiet. March 1770. A crowd presses in on frightened soldiers in the cold. Nobody here yet knows how badly this ends. His name was Crispus Attucks, part African, part native. And he became the first American to die for a country that didn't exist yet. The street empties. Snow falls on cobblestones that will be remembered long after everyone here has been forgotten. 3 ships sit anchored, full of tea nobody asked to buy. Taxed by a government nobody here got to vote for. Inside the hold, hundreds of crates worth a fortune, about to become the most expensive protest in American history. December 16th, 1773. Disguises on, chests overboard, tea scattered across the harbor, and a king an ocean away just found out. A lantern lights in a church tower. 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. And someone outside is already watching. Paul Revere rides into the dark, not knowing if he'll make it, only knowing that someone has to try. Smoke rises across the water. From here, all anyone can do is watch and wait to learn who's still standing. A flag on the hill at dusk. The British technically won this one, but it cost them far more than they expected. March 17th, 1776. British ships finally sail out of this harbor for good. Boston just won its first real fight. Months later, someone reads a new document aloud in the square, and for the first time, this crowd hears the word independence. Peace brings something unexpected. Business. Ships from everywhere start treating this harbor like the doorway to a whole new country. 2 merchants shake hands over a ledger. This is how a nation actually gets built. 1 deal, 1 handshake at a time. A textile mill rises by the water. The age of ships is slowly making room for the age of machines. New families step off the boat with everything they own in a single trunk, hoping this harbor means a fresh start. 1857. Workers start dumping cartloads of earth into the shallow water. Boston has decided it simply needs more Boston. Watch this from above. An entire new neighborhood is being built from nothing, 1 wagon load of dirt at a time. Elegant brownstone rows rise on land that used to be underwater. Nobody walking past today would ever guess that. Rail lines stretch further along the water. Boston isn't just a port anymore. It's becoming a machine for moving everything. Steamships crowd in next to old sailing vessels. 2 centuries of harbor history floating side by side for one busy afternoon. January 1919, an oddly warm winter day. A massive steel tank stands quietly on the street, minding its own business. It doesn't. The tank bursts, and a wave nobody could outrun tears through the neighborhood in seconds flat. The next morning, quiet, dark, and terrible. 21 people didn't survive a flood made of something as ordinary as molasses. Years later, on hot summer days, people swore they could still smell it. The city's strangest, saddest ghost story. By 1950, fewer ships are coming. The harbor that once ran the whole colony is starting to feel forgotten. Warehouses close their doors. Windows go dusty. For lease signs hang where cargo used to move around the clock. A pier crumbles quietly into the water. Weeds win. Nobody's stopping by to argue with them about it. Then somebody pins up a drawing of what this place could become, and for the first time in decades, people actually stop to look. 1991. Boston decides to bury an entire highway underground because, apparently, nothing here is ever done the easy way. Tunnel by tunnel, segment by segment, workers build a road nobody will ever have to look at again. Piece by piece, the old elevated highway comes down. The sky over this harbor is about to open back up. Grass, trees, and soil where a highway used to roar. Somebody finally asked what this waterfront actually wanted to be. Look at that. The harbor and the old wharves, reunited with nothing ugly standing in between them anymore. People walk and bike along the water now, mostly unaware they're strolling across what used to be 6 lanes of traffic. A glass tower rises where cargo ships once unloaded. Boston keeps building on top of every version of itself. Tourists photograph a replica tea ship, cheerfully unaware they're standing exactly where a revolution quietly began. Morning rush along the water. Everyone's got somewhere to be, and almost nobody's thinking about 1773 right now. A tour boat glides past centuries-old wharves. A guide explaining history that most passengers will forget by lunch. Night falls, and the whole skyline lights up on the water. Glass towers standing where wooden ships once creaked and swayed. One shot, every era standing together. Colonial brick, Victorian stone, and glass, all sharing the exact same shoreline. We're heading back now. Down past the skyline, back toward the one small plaque that started all of this. A tourist snaps
Hanseatic
photo,
League agreement,
doesn't read the plaque,
fur-trimmed
walks
robes,
off towards
fancy
something more
chains,
Instagram-friendly
very
nearby.
dignified,
One leaf,
very official,
drifting on the water,
watchtowers,
right where
merchant
that tea
boats,
chest sank
barrels of
at the very
grain.
start.
Trade is
Some
booming,
things really do
and
come back
everybody's
around.
wearing better
Whisker,
wool.
a harbor, a teapot,
And right across
a
the
nation,
water,
and one
Berlin,
very determined
sister
molasses
towns,
tank.
connected by a
Boston
wooden
never
bridge.
does anything the
Twice the
quiet way.
people, twice the
I'm
gossip.
Whisker. See you next time.